$75 Fandango gift card to movies. And then the last gift that we're giving away is that jar of moonshine. Actually, I think I'm just going to keep that for me. We'll arm wrestle for it. So, hey, just come up and we'll give you your gift if I pull your name out. And let's see who can win it. Okay, whose number is this? 404-271-1149. Anybody know? Nobody knows their number anymore, do they? April. April Michaels. Where's April at? She left. Too bad. I'm just kidding. You got to be here to get it. So we're gonna do it if you're here.
Got to be present to win.
Now I put like 10 of these in here, so I better win something. Teresa Lyons. You here, Teresa? Hey, when we get done, come down. We'll give you. Yeah, you sure can. All right. Now, the question is, do we give you the movies? Come on. We'll give you the lows. That way it's really for you, bro. She won, but you win too. All right, let me see. Last one here. 916-768-6392. Oh, I shouldn't say that number, should I? Y'all are going to write it down and be prank calling her.
She's over there.
Robin,
Yeah.
right here. You come get it right now if you want to. Jennifer, will you give that to her, please? That'd be great. All right, how's everybody doing? Y'all doing all right? Come on, man. So this is really weird for me to sit up here like this, but the last session, this is the one I've probably been the most excited about. We're going to do Q&A. We've got some questions that we're going to do for the screen. If we have some time at the end, then we've got some people that are going to pass mics around, and we'll see what questions you guys have. So if I were you, take that notebook that CPCN gave you, take the Revolution Church pen, and write your questions down. Hopefully you've been doing that all day in anticipation of this, and we're going to get to it. Sound good to everybody? Say, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's put the first one up. What is the biggest leadership mistake you've made, and how has it changed the way you lead today? Boy, what a good question. Coming to speak at our conference?
That's I get that question a lot. The biggest leadership mistake that I've made in 44 years is not far earlier developing a leadership pipeline. I would have, somebody actually reminded me outside that I said it last year, I would have spent more time with fewer people. Because we grew so far, so fast, that we outpaced our leaders, and we just hit the wall because we didn't have anybody. You can get money quickly. Somebody could walk in your church this Sunday and write a $10 million check. Somebody could call you tomorrow and say, we got a building. But if you don't have leaders, there's not nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So so how it's changed today is I do a lot more one-on-one and small group coaching.
I think it's more on a personal level for me. The first church we planted in California, I didn't have a discernment or a rhythm or balance. I was working 7 days a week, doing bivocational. We had 2 kids and came home one night. My wife said, I don't see you much anymore. I don't like you much anymore. And don't want to be with you much anymore. Something better change. And I got on my face before Jesus, cried out for intervention, humbled myself, started taking a day off, having a date night every week, got some marriage counseling, and 32 years, we're still here.
Yeah.
You got 2 kids.
Yeah, I got 4 more.
Yeah, 4 more
got better.
kids. Yeah, it got better.
I'll tell you guys this, the one for me is a little different than theirs. When I started Revolution Church, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys, raw and real, right? And I think every church planter has a little bit of this, and it's something that God can use to drive you. But I thought I was going to be the next Stephen Furtick. I thought, man, I'm going to blow up. I've got it all figured out. You know, these other guys, Pastor Chris, Pastor Steve, you know, I just had this arrogance about me and this desire to want to be famous. If I'm being honest with you, there was a little bit of that, probably a lot of that in me. And I eventually got to the place where God, because when you have that in you and you think your senior pastor that you're working for now is an idiot and you've got all the answers and you wouldn't do it that way and blah, blah, blah. When you go start a church, what happens is you realize real quick that you are an idiot. Y'all know what I'm saying? And so I called both pastors I worked for, all three pastors I worked for. One of them was Pastor Tony. I don't know if you remember this, Tony, but I called you and I apologized. I said, man, I never said it, but there was things you did, and I was like, I would have done that different. And I was a moron. I was so immature. And I called my other two pastors that I worked under too. And one of them, fell and wasn't even that great of a pastor, but I still apologized. I was real humble. But I learned, like, when God broke me is when I was like, I got to a place where I was like, I was trying to control everything and wanted to be so known. I got to a place where I literally cried out to God, similar to you, Steve, and I'm like, Lord, because I went through everything y'all mentioned too, and that's great, but year 3, 4, I was like, Lord, I don't care what the church is. You take it. I don't care if people speak in tongues every Sunday. I don't care if we become reformed. I don't care if we got 3 people, but I can't do this anymore. And that's when the Lord really started to mature me, and I started really realizing, like, my goal in life now is to live a quiet, simple life. And learning from these guys, if I get to the end of my ministry and my wife loves me and my kids love me and I love them and all of us love Jesus, man, I've done something that hardly anybody in ministry has done. And so, hey, the church grows, church doesn't grow, whatever. It's like, whatever. But man, so anyway, that's mine. And so, good stuff. Second question. Great question. Great answers. How do you build, develop, and keep a healthy leadership team? You guys got that figured out, right? You've never lost any?
Well, we took a picture in 2019, so that's 7 years ago, of our staff. Had about 40 people on stage. Out of that staff today, I'm the only one still on staff.
Wow.
So that clearly means I'm disqualified from this question. Now, there is a caveat. We planted 4 churches in our community, and we've sent out over 300 people in the last 3 years. And so a lot of our staff and elders went to start those churches and lead those churches. But before that, we had people that have been there 20 years, 24 years, 22 years, 13 years. And, man, I think you really got to be willing to die for your team. You got to let them know every day how important they are and build them up and lead them and care and model. I mean, that's a lot, but it's kind of like you said, you can't be with everybody all the time, but you got to love your staff, and they got to know you care. And so that was what
And if you're over a ministry, they got to know your care, man. They don't care.
Well, that is staff. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if
that's
you're
right.
paid or volunteer. I mean, yeah.
They don't care what you tell them. They care how you make them feel, right? That's what you
I
tell
think,
them.
Josh, are you in here? Is Whitehead in here? Yeah, no, my Josh.
That's Steve Whitehead.
Whitehead.
Yeah, he raised
The other
Maybe
Whitehead.
they're related.
I think this would be right. We lost, that's the other Whitehead. We lost 10% a year for probably the last 20 years of staff.
10% of your leaders.
10% of our staff, our paid staff.
Okay.
We lost every year 10%. And so, we have a large staff. We have a lot of young people. And so they transition from part-time to a full-time job somewhere else. But I would agree with Steve. You got to love them. You got to be, we in this room are called people, and we have to be secure enough to have adult conversations and not wonder if he or she loves me or if he or she cares or I heard. We got to talk to people and be clear about what we're going, what our goals are, and have some honest adult conversations. And, we hold people to a pretty high level of accountability. Mm-hmm. And Josh he's out there, who was my right hand for 23 years when I was a senior pastor at Faith Promise. And so people will stay with you, but you got to add value. They're not pawns on your chessboard. They're people that have value and worth to God and need to have value and worth to us. And so I would agree with what Steve said. Be clear, be honest. Here's where we're going. Here's what it's going to take to get there, and hold people accountable.
That's good. I agree with everything they said. I'm going to answer it from a different perspective. Small town. I'm in a small town. And so nobody is ever going to come to work at Revolution Church because they're going to gain a bunch of Twitter followers. Okay? They're not going to be popular and invited to speak at the big conferences across the nation. They're not going to make a lot of money. And I joke all the time and say, you guys know I started a church in Crossville, Tennessee to get rich. You know what I mean? They're not going to make a bunch of money with me. So if they don't know that we care, then they're gone, man. They're moving to, especially if they're a high-level leader, if it's somebody that's really, really good, they're going to Knoxville. They're going to Nashville. Knoxville's got a Target. We don't have one here. Y'all know what I mean?
We're getting one, by the way. If anybody's on staff looking
Yeah.
here at Rev Church, if you need, we got a Target now.
I'm serious. Pastor Chris has been with us the last 5 days, and we're like, hey, Sunday we went to eat with him, and we said nothing's open on Sunday in Crossville except Mexican restaurants and Cracker Barrel. And then Monday we're like, nothing's open in Crossville except for Mexican restaurants and Cracker Barrel. Tuesday, everything's
Tuesday,
open.
but we didn't do it Tuesday. So
Yeah.
we did the Mexican restaurant. And
They're just closed from 12 till 3 on Tuesdays. And so, we don't have a restaurant. We don't have a university here. You know what I mean? And so for me, I found that you got to care for them. But then there's also this one, especially for young people. You got to have fun. My young people tell you we have a blast on staff. And if you do not know how to have fun and you're a pastor of a small town, you got to have somebody that'll figure it out for you. I mean, you got to have a good time. You got to have a laid-back environment. You've got to be very, open with trying new things as far as work schedules and work from home and all those different things. Because for us, again, in our context, we have to just get outside the box because they're not going to get rich with us. They're not going to get popular with us. So it's got to be fun. And they got to know that, like Alex, he's standing right there. Hey, his wife's going to have to push me out of the way to take a bullet because I'm going to be the first one taking a bullet for you, right, Alex? I mean, he knows I'm here for him. I love him. Then we have a good time, don't we? We smoke cigars together. We talk about working out. We do all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Play golf. I mean, all that stuff. And if you don't know how to have fun, you got to have somebody teach you. Because a lot of pastors, we get in this build mode, and it's just all business. It's like, hey, how's student ministry going? How many leaders have you developed? How blah, 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 blah. And we were talking about going to the Arnold last year. The Arnold, y'all that don't work out don't even know what that is. And we're like, man, we could go to the Arnold, and we could. So you got to have fun, man. So just don't leave out fun. All 3 churches I worked for before this one, it was awful.
Funless.
No fun, dude. No fun. Their idea of fun was potluck. And you know what I'm saying? And so we blow it out at the Christmas party. We blow it out, stuff. We have fun. So anyway, third question. Great stuff, gentlemen. How do you lead people through conflict, criticism, and difficult decisions? That's like 50 questions in one.
Yeah.
Pastor Chris?
How do you lead people through conflict? You go right to the heart of it. Now, people that know me now know that I'm gonna tell you like it is. What people don't know is that's not where I started. So I can remember 18 years old going to get my hair cut. The hairdresser, which is what they called him back then, was a friend of my mom and wanted to go out with me. And she cuts my hair. I look in the mirror. It's still too long. And she said, "How's that?" And I said, "It's fine." I didn't have enough gumption to tell a woman I'm paying to cut my hair that wanted to go out with me, "Do you mind cutting another half inch off?" Because what would she have said? "I'd be glad to. You're going to stay in my chair longer." "Absolutely. I'd love to cut another half." Oh, no, I couldn't say. So a lot of us think, well, you're brash and you know how to lead into conflict because that's your personality. No, it's the opposite of my personality. If there's a conflict, I literally, my knee jerk is to turn and go the other way. Literally, just turn and go the other way. So I'm going to go straight into conflict because whatever you sweep under the rug, eventually you can't walk on the rug. And people don't wonder well, so you don't deal with conflict. So people get to assume what they want to assume, and they never assume well. And so Go to conflict. Criticism, could care less. I've never Googled my name. Don't, because there's so much crap out there about me. Don't go. My son Micah, Zach's older brother, said, "Dad, you've got to. Do you know? Did you know that you have a fleet of jets? And you have a warehouse of Corvettes?" I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Google yourself." I said, "I'm not doing it." Because why would I go to people that don't know me, that write things about me that are not true? Why would I read that? So criticism, now, if it's constructive criticism, I'm all about it. If it's somebody that loves me, Josh Whitehead, again, we went to lunch for 23 years every Monday, and there are many times that he would say, "Hey, I need to talk to you about a couple things think you need to work on." And I'm wide open for that. If you love me and you want to help me, look, I'm wide open. I'm not defensive. It's not personal. You love me. You want me to be better. And so difficult decisions, I'm not going to put them off. I'm not going to put them off. Because you know what? If you put them off, they're still there.
Yeah.
And so I've learned that I make mistakes all the time. God can draw a straight line with a crooked stick. And so we make mistakes. Hey, you know what? I've learned my greatest lessons by doing stupid things. So
Good. So good. Pastor Steve?
I've only been in the pastor for 30 years, so I don't know what that criticism stuff is.
Next question.
I have to agree. I think the longer I do it, the more I really don't care what people think. I mean, if I am honoring God and the people that love me that are on the same team are moving forward with me, criticism, when early on, kind of like I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted everything to be perfect. But over time, you just realize everybody won't like you. Get over it.
Yep.
Everybody didn't like Jesus. Everybody didn't like the Apostle Paul. A lot of people still don't like the Apostle Paul, right? So
he killed both of them.
I know. So we're doing pretty good. So you really got to set that aside, the criticism part.
Yeah.
But the conflict's going to happen with everybody. And, man, trying to remember who it was. I heard of Keith Green. You remember Keith Green? He was a prophetic worship leader years ago, died in a plane crash. I heard somebody introduce him one time, and he said, whenever Keith needs to share something with me, he washes my feet. If he's got to share a correction or a rebuke. And so I've adopted that if there's something like, if I've got something against a brother, if there's something that's a conflict, just wash their feet. It's really hard to be prideful and arrogant when you're on your knees. And it really keeps my heart in the right posture.
Yep.
So that was a nugget I got from him that I'll be using tomorrow. So,
Awesome. I can't, go ahead.
And say even several years ago, there was someone that I won't mention their name, but that I'm close with and Steve was close with, and they worked for Steve, and it didn't end well. And I knew exactly what Steve was thinking. I wonder what Chris thinks over in Knoxville. And I called him and said, "Hey, I just want to tell you one thing. I love you. I love that guy. I'm not in that. Dude, we are." Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I said,
Yeah, I remember that.
This is not about me and you.
Yeah.
This was about you and him,
Mhm.
and I love both of y'all, and I'm going to keep loving you. And so,
And you did.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you did.
I just add to that, if you're going to have conflict with somebody, don't text them and email them, have it face to face. So there's a big rule number one. Teach your staff, teach your people, teach your leaders, because you cannot read nonverbal. You always assume the worst when somebody texts you something. What's their tone? Are they mad when they, and we always assume the worst. And yeah, I agree with you guys on criticism, difficult decisions. I can't add anything to that. That's great. So don't, see them face to face. If you think it's bad news at all, see them face to face and run to it as quick as you can. Next question, number 4. How do you create a culture where people genuinely care grow spiritually, and make disciples. These are like 3-in-1s.
Yeah,
Genuinely care, grow spiritually, and make disciples.
Uh,
So they're bought in, is what you're saying? They're bought into the church and the process?
Yeah, I would say if you go to a bar, which I don't typically go to bars, but I remember.
I just carry my moonshine
You
with me.
did, you brought your own.
Why pay that money?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to a bar, there are pretzels or peanuts on the bar, and they're free. Because if you're eating salty peanuts or pretzels, you're going to drink more. Let's be salty. Let's be so salty in our small groups, on our ministry, our churches, that everybody wants a big drink of God. I mean, Jesus said, "You're salt. Salt makes everything better." And so if we're gonna create a culture by simply love. We're going. Jesus said, "They'll know you're my disciples, and you have love one for another."
Yeah.
And you don't have to love me. I'm going to love you. And people that are mad at me, I go after them and hug them and love on them. And I've sort of got a devious. I still have a little flesh, because, I mean, Jesus said, when you love them, or Proverbs, you're heaping coals on their head. So when they're mad at me, I just hunt them down and hug them, say, "So good to see you," and love to watch them squirm. And so, just love, man, create a climate at every one of our churches that everyone that walks in the door feels loved. Something Steve said that I've said to 100 churches. The day I walked in East Lake, I didn't realize it until about 8 years ago, sharing my testimony, that when I walked in East Lake Baptist, a lot of people have walked in churches that were like me, different, and were rejected. That church loved the hell out of me.
That's good.
I mean, and so let's be that.
Amen. Yeah, for me, I think it helps when you come from that background and you've had people love on you and it's paying it forward. And I know for me, I had a guy this week, man, hadn't seen him in about a year and a half. He left on terms that he was angry at us, and he wanted us to do some things that we weren't okay with. We had a different vision, and he left with anger and let us know what he thought. And he was there Sunday morning, and the Spirit of God I didn't even say a word. I just ran up and hugged him. Same thing. I just don't want the devil to get one hair of the freedom to say that I don't love broken people, because I know I've been loved by God. I want them to have no doubt in their mind that we love them no matter whether it's conflict or not.
Yeah.
And the second thing I say is proactively is hospitality. It's one of the spiritual or gifts that it says an elder must have, and we don't talk about it much in the church. But when we started our church, one of the things was having as many people in our home as we could, just so we could. There is something about when they come in your home, you feel like family. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. And if you're planting a church, or if you're a pastor of a church, I encourage you. We just had, I think we got 38 deacons, and I said, I want to have them at my house. And so we had to do it outside, but we just had 38 deacons and their wives at my house. We grilled out, we sat on the back deck and put tables in the yard, and we just had a sweet time. And I can't tell you how many of them came to me and said, "Matt, I never thought I'd get to come to your house." And I'm like, well, we don't want to clean it up, that's why, but
Amen.
But hospitality.
Did you let him drive one of your Corvettes?
I don't have a Corvette. He's the one with the Corvette.
Oh, you've got all the
Camaros.
Camaros.
I'm a Camaro.
Yeah.
Camaro, come on now. Corvettes only seat 2 people. What's the fun in that?
It's good. Kind of giving the same answer here, but I'll just kick it. Were you done, Pastor Steve?
Yeah.
I would say everything they said, that's number one. But how do you create, the way I read that question is, how do you get somebody bought into your church and Jesus and getting discipled and the process and all that stuff? I just say you got to be willing to get better. If you're a leader in here, you got to be coachable. You need to let somebody tell you how to do it better. If you're a church planner in here or a pastor, you better be meeting with guys, watching videos, listening to leadership podcasts, trying to figure out how do we make this better. I talked about it in my deal there. And no perfect people allowed. That's our motto here. because nobody it's all over the country, but nobody had it in Crossville. So everybody in Crossville knows that phrase connects with lost people, and it's the same thing. Love, love, no perfect people allowed. It's like, hey, man, put your guard down. Ain't none of us perfect in here. If you're perfect, get out. Go ahead and leave. And so just try to create spaces where we're salty, like you said, and people know that you love them. And so they don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
That's so right.
Y'all know what I'm saying? And so get better. And for Pete's sake, think about lost people. Don't create your church or your ministry for churched people. The churched people that are already saved, they're a part of the people that are there. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few kind of deal. So, hey, great, you're coming from another church and you know Jesus. Time to get to work, baby. Not time to sit around and just listen to my sermons. Like, think about the lost people that are coming through the doors because they stress. We have Baptism Sunday the last Sunday of every single month, and people always invite lost people. And we've heard stories, and people have told us about how they sit at home and look in the mirror. Somebody told a story, I think it was Erin Jackson when she did the huddle this week, looking in the mirror before she goes to church stressed, going, what are they going to think of me? How are they going to treat me? They got baggage, they're hurting. They've built up in their mind that we're going to be all these holy rollers that judge them and everything. So just love them, man. Because that's our goal, right?
That's right.
Is to get lost people to know Jesus, find freedom, discover their purpose, make a difference, right? You know what I'm saying? And so, number 5, great stuff, great stuff. Hope y'all thinking of questions? Say yeah. Okay, good. That was only like 3 people. That's great. What is one leadership principle every person can apply today, whether they're leading a church, a team, or their family? Pastor Steve?
May sound like Sunday school answer, but prayer. You need leaders, get on your knees and ask the Lord. You need your team to mature, get on your knees and talk to the Lord. You need to set a better example, get on your knees and talk to the Lord. When you get in the presence of God, He will reveal the issue in your life that may be preventing you from being a great leader, and the angels start moving on your behalf to lead that team. And then, man, there's so much wisdom available today. If you're not a wise leader, why not? Because there's always been the wisdom of the word, which is awesome. But, when you started, there wasn't a whole lot out there on church planting or church growth, and it didn't come till a little bit later. I mean, when we planted, it was like you're the 3-eyed monster. It's like, what church did you just split out of? I'm like, no, we moved here to start a new church. They're like, no, you didn't, because it was just so unusual. And now there's plenty of information out there from people that have walked it or doing it well. And if you're not reading that and you're watching TV, I think that's on you.
Hunger, right? Yeah. Go ahead, Pastor.
I would say that, again, number one, all-time leadership lesson, it is period. There's not anything close. People do what people see. Be the culture that you want to create. Be the culture. And so you want your team, you want your kids, you want your marriage, you want your church, your ministry to be a certain way, be that. Don't ask people to go where you're not already going. Don't ask them to do what you're not already doing. If you're a pastor and you want to get people in small groups, you better be leading a small group. My wife and I lead 3 or 4. Pastor Zach and his wife, they lead 3 or 4. And so we are some of the leaders in giving in 30 years. We want people to be generous. I'm going to do it before I ask it. So be the culture, because people know what people see. The reason most people don't disciple other people or do certain things is because they've never actually seen it done. Do it, and they'll know how to do it.
Yeah. I don't know if I can add anything to that. That was so good. I looked at my staff one day and I said, hey guys, if you're not going to pray for an hour a day, let me know now. For at least an hour today, if you're not going to pray and have quiet time, let me know now so I can go ahead and start to replace you. Because your people are only going to, if you're praying for an hour, we'll be lucky if they pray 6 minutes. So I'm just piggybacking on really what they've said. You said pray. You said, model everything. They do 10% of what you do right. And if you're going to be one of them crazy people on Facebook that acts like a total moron, that says stuff that you would never say to somebody's face, let me know so I can replace you. Because they see you doing that, they're going to do 10 times what you do wrong. You post something political, well, they're going to be on the next thread threatening to kill a Democrat. Y'all know what I'm saying? And so So yeah, just model it. That's good. I don't have anything to add, but I'll just tell you that. It's good. Questions? Questions. Who's got a question that you want to ask? We've got some microphone runners. And if we don't have any, we'll just hang out in the lobby, but we should have some. Wait for a few seconds. Surely there's a question.
Got one over here.
Yeah, this is for Pastor Josh. On your bio, I saw something that surprised me. When did you change your heart about cats?
My bio said that I love my cats, and he said, when did I change my mind about cats? Where's Pastor Justin at?
I mean, you can't believe all the cat stuff that's in there. I thought he was a cat aficionado. There's cat stuff everywhere.
People get me cat stuff all the time. I have some evil people in my church. We're praying they get right. You can thank Pastor Justin for that. So, is there a question over here? Right here.
Come on, Alex.
Shoot your hand up real quick. Hey, we're all leaders in here, so if you got a question, ask it. Don't be gun shy.
If you had any piece of advice to give to someone about how to spread the gospel, what would it be?
That's good. How to spread the gospel.
Intentionality. Get up every morning and ask the Lord, Lord, who is it today? And walk with expectation that every place you go could be that place. And if I'm going to Walmart and I bump into somebody and I've got a chance to talk to them, I feel like, okay, there's my answer. It's time for me to share with them about Jesus. And I heard this great advice from a missionary who was, according to what they told me, the most effective evangelist in the nation he was in. And they asked him, what does he do? He said, I start every conversation with every taxi driver with, hey, what do you think about Jesus? And if they shut me down immediately, I decide, okay, I'm going to read my paper because God's not in it. He said, but if they ask a next question, then I go, okay, then God must be in it. Let's keep going. And that's kind of what I've learned is they're not rejecting me. They're rejecting the gospel. And if their heart's not ready, I'm just beating on a hard door. That's dumb. So I've learned, I just start. I'm just not afraid to just start it with the conversation. What do you think about Jesus? And if they're interested, I keep going. If they say, I don't like to talk about that, then I'll respect their decision and just assume that next time they'll be open. So
I would say that the number one reason people don't share their faith is they're afraid. A lot of people are afraid because they don't think that they're equipped. So step one, get equipped. I don't care whether you decide you're going to be a track person, you're going to walk people through a track. My personal favorite is the Romans Road. And so when I first got saved, somebody gave me, the Bible is a sword. Well, it's the little pocket New Testament. I'll call that a pocket knife. So you got a whole sword or a pocket knife. And I didn't know any Bible, so I would dog-ear the pages in the Romans Road, and I didn't write the next verse. I wrote the page. So I'd know where to go because I didn't know how to find stuff in my Bible. And so get trained, find out how to do it, and then one of the things that we pray for every day at Faith Promise is Bob, a burden, an opportunity, and boldness to go through the doors God opens, which is exactly what Pastor Steve said. And so there are lost people all around us. Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
But if we're not in tune with the Holy Spirit and we're not looking every day, like I'm going to go to Walmart, well, I'm going to go 10 minutes early and do a 10-minute mission trip and walk around and see if there's somebody God wants me to talk to. Does that make sense? So you're just looking. You're always alert, just seeing, tapping on a door. There's a thing called the Ingalls scale of evangelism. -10, hardcore atheist. A -10, +10. They're sold out Christ follower. And so when you get somebody like a cab driver that, hey, what do you think about Jesus? I don't want to talk about that. Great, man. I hope you have a blessed day. He might go from a -10 to a -9. Steve's going to leave him for the next guy. Don't shut the door to him. I mean, don't make it where nobody can come behind you. Your goal is not necessarily, I got to get them to pray the sinner's prayer. No, your goal's got to get them closer, a little closer. And then the next person that comes, you left them wide open and they're moving. Then number one, they pray to receive Christ. They're a new believer, and then they grow. And so get equipped. If you don't know how to get equipped, talk to your small group leader, talk to one of the pastors at your church. Say, would you show me how to share my faith? Now, I might be afraid, but I'm not afraid because I don't know what I'm going to do. And so then just pray for boldness and pray for an opportunity and look every day. Those people that look, they're out there.
And I don't think inviting people to church is the answer. Like, it's not like an excuse, like just invite them to church. But it's a start, and it's not a bad start, and I think all three of us, and try to make it where Sunday morning's a welcoming place for unchurched believers. And so for some, that's a good start. I have just found that in doing so, if they're open, you just keep moving forward. And if they're not, then that's okay. Like you're saying, somebody else can follow behind me. And if I had this one couple, they moved from Colorado. She had never been in church. He grew up Catholic. They knew nothing about the faith whatsoever. He left the Catholic faith when he left high school. And I asked him, I said, what brought you to the river? They said, well, we moved here from Colorado, and within 1 week, you guys showed up at our door to invite us. We had 2 other people invite us to the river. 2 people invited us to Life Church. We're like, well, I guess we ought to try this out at least once. And they came. Well, what if the other 4 had thought, well, I'm a failure? What if they hadn't tried, right? Sometimes I think we get rejected once and we think it didn't work. And that's so not true. It moves them on the scale.
That's right. You're not responsible for their response. You're responsible for the gospel. Inviting to church is good. It's not the gospel. And when we started in the 1980s, and Rick Warren and some of the guys started the seeker-sensitive movement, which means we're not compromising the gospel. We make church a welcoming place for lost people. That's what we mean when we say that word. Seeker, it's people come and feel loved. We're going to give the gospel. We're going to preach the Bible. We're not going to compromise anything. Well, in that day in the 80s, 8 out of 10 adults in America said they would go to church if someone invited them. And so we built the biggest churches in the history of America in a culture that was open to an invite. Today, 7 out of 10 American adults are not open to an invitation to church. Yeah, 7 out of 10. And COVID made it worse. So can you imagine you're on the board of Apple and you have a consultant comes in and the consultant said, hey, you're losing your market share because only 20% of Americans are now open to Apple products. Would the board of Apple say, well, we'll just market to the 20? No, they would say, everybody cancel everything. You're not even leaving. We're going to figure out how to get a market share because they're more concerned with selling smartphones than the church is of winning souls. So if all we do is invite, understand 7 out of 10 of the people that you love are not open to an invitation anymore. And what we did that nobody realized is when we said, bring your friends, we'll win them for you because we're the professional gunslingers. We're Catholic now. And we took the burden of evangelism and soul winning off of you and put it onto us on these 3 chairs and said, all you do is invite. America's not that same America anymore. Therefore, every believer, it is our responsibility to share the gospel where we live, work, study, shop, and play. That's your mission field.
I would encourage you just in a couple. That's good. Yeah. Everything they said, but here's the encouragement. Evangelism's hard. That's what you're hearing. It's really difficult. You got to be led by the Spirit. You got to walk in the Spirit. And everybody, the reason people don't evangelize is because they feel like they can't answer questions. You feel like that? What if they ask me about this? What if they ask me if Adam had a belly button? What am I going to say? What if they ask me about why does the Bible say this in the Old Testament and in the New Testament it says this? I think it's in the book of Proverbs that says, he who wins souls is wise, if I'm not mistaken. So what happens when you try to win people to Jesus, they ask you questions and you don't know the answers. So you know what you do? You go find the answers. And then you learn about the Word of God. And you get better at evangelism and you get discipled. You get wisdom. You get stronger in your faith. And so I think one of the biggest reasons that so many people in the church are totally biblically illiterate, they don't know how to answer anything, they don't know any scriptures, because nobody's trying to win souls. Because if you love somebody and you're trying to win them to Jesus and they ask you a really hard question, you'll look at them and you'll say, you aren't going to make something up on the spot or ask ChatGPT. You're going to say, let me go figure out the answer to that and I'll come back and let you know. And then once you learn that, you're never going to be embarrassed again. The next person that asks that question, you know the answer. Boom. And be ready when you start winning souls. Because in your school, especially young, they're going to pick everything you do apart. So you better be living it. You know what I'm saying? You better be living it, because everybody's going to try to get you to drink a drink at the party because you're the good girl that's trying to win everybody to Jesus. Nate Bargatze, y'all know who Nate Bargatze is, the comedian? He's a Christian guy, clean comedian, never cusses. He was on a TV show or a podcast where they were trying to get him to say a curse word. And to his credit, he wouldn't do it. He's like, I'm not going to do it. So just know you got a target on your back. So, but praise God.
The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yep. And the
more
wiser you get.
That's right. And the wiser you get.
That's right. Yeah. Questions? Great question. Awesome question, girl. We got them
Oh,
shooting
well,
up. Here's one right here, right over here. Oh, there's one over there. We'll come to you next, okay, Todd?
Back when you started your churches, what was your first position that you hired? Why? And looking back, would you change that?
That's easy
First
for
position
me.
you hired.
I cannot organize myself out of a wet paper bag, brother. First position I hired was a college student that was totally detail-oriented, computer literate. And I said, man, you get on that computer and figure it out and put everything in there we need to do. And wouldn't change it a bit. That was the very first. I didn't have any money, but I paid him $100 a month to show up a couple of days a week and take care of organizing stuff. Wouldn't change it a bit.
Great.
It was worship, which actually was volunteer. I'm right here with Steve. Well, we went years at Faith Promise without an executive pastor, and it was a grievous error because I'm lesser administrator than Steve is, and so I couldn't keep up with anything. And our executive, we got executive pastor. It transformed everything. I don't know that Faith Promise would have ever grown beyond 2000 without Josh Whitehead.
I think you told me, Chris, that when you brought Josh in, you said, hey, I think it's going to take you 6 months to fix this. And he said, no, probably longer. I don't know if you remember telling me that. I heard our first executive pastor, and I literally said the same thing. I was like, it's probably going to take 6 months to 12 months. He said, I'm thinking 3 years.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
Yeah,
it was a mess.
It's a mess.
We had no policy manual.
We had nothing.
People bringing their kids to
to
work.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I'm extremely administratively gifted. I'm the best at details. Brandy, are you in here? There she is. Shaking her head. So I'm weird because my wife was my worship leader.
Thou shalt not lie.
Yeah,
Sounds
right.
like it.
So Brooke was our worship leader. So we were a duo. She was all in, unpaid for years, you know. But the first one I hired was a children's minister because the tail wags the dog now. And if you don't have a kids ministry when you're planting a church, I mean, mom and dad get in the car. Dad says, what'd you think of the sermon? Mom's like, oh, golly, that was awful. What'd you think of the message? Dad says, man, he was awful. Little Timmy's in the back. We got to come back here next week. I love the kids ministry. Where are they going to church next week, y'all? You know what I mean? So for me, it was an unpaid children's minister to try to make a VBS every week, man. Because tail wags dog, you know, you gotta play the cards you're dealt. You know what I'm saying? Next question, Todd over here.
Yeah, we got one over here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, feeding right into what you were saying about evangelizing to people. I think we all have a fear of appearing ignorant. How do you feel about organizing and or teaching a class on apologetics so that when we get those questions, we don't appear ignorant, we have better answers?
I think it's great. There's great classes out there. There are great books out there. There are great things online out there. I don't think you can get a class that would teach you every question. But see, and I have a doctorate degree. I have all the degrees you can have and be in ministry. And it doesn't bother me at all to say, wow, I don't have a clue.
Yep.
That's a great question. Doesn't bother me at all. But I'm gonna go find the answer out. But I think having apologetics, evangelism on steroids. Hey, let's help you. Where'd the Bible come from? How do I can trust the Bible? They're great. A foundation. It kills about 4 birds with one stone. So no, I think it's a great idea.
Here's my encouragement to you, Todd, okay? There's different generations in the church now. And there's certain generations that are older that wait on the church to start a class so they can learn apologetics. And they go to the pastor and they say stuff like, we're not teaching people to share their faith because we're not doing apologetics. That's not what you're doing. My encouragement would be to you that in today's time, man, you can learn apologetics starting when you get home tonight. There's so much content and so much stuff available online that you will probably get more out of studying it on your own than you would out of a class that, now, we should teach classes. We should give all the resources available at the church and do that. But my encouragement to you is if you've got the fire to do that, don't limit yourself to what the church has available. Does that make sense? It's available everywhere. Young people know that today. Because if a young person, if one of these people wants to learn about apologetics, they're on YouTube searching it. They're asking ChatGPT to teach them. They're asking, hey, give me some scriptures for this and teach me about this and how many blah, 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 blah. And so that would be my encouragement to the more seasoned folks in the room.
And if you lead a small group on apologetics, you're going to even learn more. By the way, ChatGPT is the #1 counselor in America.
Yep.
ChatGPT untrained is left.
Left-leaning.
Left-leaning. It's not
woke.
When you just pull up ChatGPT and say, I'm depressed, what should I do? It's not going to say pray. It's going to say Papa Xanax.
You may be a woman.
Or there's no telling what it might say.
Not you.
Yeah, thank you.
No, not you. No.
Happy
I mean,
Jesus.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So ChatGPT is a great
I
tool.
just lost my mentor.
It's a great tool if you train it. But leading a small group, when I got saved, and within 6 months I felt called, and before the first year was out, I was back in college because I'd already flunked out. And I was a rabid, on fire, meat-eating soul winner. And so every class, I'm debating professors. I spent more time preparing for the next class's apologetics at UTC than I did doing my homework. And so that deal where you said, he that wins souls is wise, I learned, I had a degree just preparing to go to class and to share my faith.
Steve, anything to add to that?
I think you mentioned the younger generation. And I think that what I've seen is community comes first. And so what I've seen is if I know them, I mean, we have young people over our house all the time. And that's just unusual for them. And so that's a place to start a conversation. But I also have found that if I ask a lost person for help in something, then I'm no longer going at it from, I know something you don't know, I'm telling you, but I needed your help. And then I think it opens the door so that when they need help, they're willing to ask me for what I know.
Sure.
And so I've started, when I'm around lost people, like, hey, can you give me some advice on cars? Can you give me some advice on, and asking them for their wisdom on stuff. That seems to open doors when they're needing struggles.
Sure.
And they're like, man, my marriage is in trouble. You've been married 32 years. You got any ideas? So that's just an idea.
That's Jesus and the woman at the well.
Yeah.
He didn't open his Bible and start preaching, hey, could you get me a drink of water?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. By the way, Barna says 50% of all millennial Christians think that it's immoral to share your faith.
Yep. And Gen Z's even worse.
50%. Gen Z is the greatest. It is the most spiritually open generation. Gen Z, 14 to 29. But millennials, 50% say it is morally wrong to share your faith or to proselyte. Because they take their cues from culture, not from Christ.
Yeah.
That's millennials that go to church. That's millennials that say, we love Jesus. It's wrong to share your faith.
Good question. Great question, Todd. Next question. There was some over here. Let's get them to them quick, y'all. But we took one on that side.
Several in the corner over there.
Yeah. We got about 9 minutes, y'all. So rapid fire. Go find somebody, Alex, and have them ready. And then you go find them, Calvin, and have them ready after that. Go ahead.
Do y'all see a decline in small group participation? And if so, how do you keep it alive?
Ours took a nosedive after COVID. We're actually trying something new because we found after COVID it's been harder and harder to get people to go into homes. And then the situation with children, quality child care, space that you can trust people, parents less likely to trust you dropping off, a 16-year-old teenager and just watching six kids in the bedroom. We're pivoting.
Good.
First time we've been doing this 24 years and we made a wholesale change. We're launching in August. We're turning 6 rooms into like life group rooms and offering children's ministry 4 nights a week during those. And we're going to staff that and pay for that and do all the life groups with kids at our building because that's where we've seen the decline. And I'll let you know how it goes. I may come back next year and go, worst idea ever. But that's where we've pivoted just now.
Yeah,
Pastor Chris.
we really hadn't seen a decline, but see, we make it, we have wrong math. So we say like, if we run 800 on Sunday here in the big, what we call the big room at Revolution, and we've got 400 in small groups, we say, well, half our people in groups. Well, that's not true. Because you're averaging 800, but that 800 is actually probably 2,400 different adults who come, 1.5 or 2 times a month. And now the kids are in small groups and the students are in small groups. So I've been at war, not now, but used to with our small group ministry team about what the percentage is. And you can't actually know what the percentage unless people checked in at church. But we haven't really dropped, but there are a lot of churches that are dropping small group ministry because it's hard. Because you got about 18 or 20% that'll do small groups, even if you don't. They're going to do Bible study. Yeah. They're more traditional Christians. They're going to find a Bible study and come some folks at church and do it anyway. But you want to get a significant amount. It begins to be very difficult.
You done?
Yeah.
Here's my caution to you. You can't put groups in a box, and that's what every generation does. Most old people in the church today think it's not a group unless, used to we had Sunday school. When churches went away from Sunday school, started doing groups, old people freaked out. That's not real discipleship. Nobody's coming to Sunday school. They're all going to cell groups and life groups and small groups. Now you've got a new generation of old people that think the only way to do small groups is if you have them come to your house and do the traditional small group model. A lot of churches are pivoting, and they'll have small groups in homes, but mostly the only people that are in those groups are older people that have been Christians for years, and they had a small group that they were in at their last church, and they loved it, and it was great, and it was awesome. But younger people, it's funny you said we don't want to clean our house. We found the number one reason younger people that are in their 30s and stuff don't want to have a group at their house is because it stresses them to the max. Like this hospitality idea, like you said, having them over to one of y'all said, having them over to your house is foreign to them. Man, they don't connect face to face. And so I would just encourage you 5 minutes. Don't put it in a box because like at every one of our ministries here at this church, they are all based in groups. The number one priority is groups. Student ministry, they break out into the groups. The largest amount of time is towards groups. Rev Connect, largest amount of time, they split up into groups. And so does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? So don't get disheartened because it doesn't look the way that you've always seen it look, maybe, per se, because I think one thing you're getting up here is like, however you can get them in groups, get them in. Who cares as long as it's working? Whether it's here at the church, whether it's at their house, I think Sunday school is going to make a comeback one day. I think Sunday mornings, man, people want to get it all done, and eventually, we won't call it Sunday school, but it'll be Sunday school. Go to your small group on Sunday morning, then go to church. You're going to start seeing church buildings with all these classrooms again. That's what I think is going to happen. But just don't put it in a box. Does that make sense? Because I just see people that are so miserable, and they make these grandiose statements like, we're not doing discipleship. You ever heard that before? Every church planner in here, that's what you're going to hear. We're not doing discipleship. Yeah, you are. It just doesn't look the way it looked at your last church or the way you've always done it. Remember that? They're having small groups. They're just having them at the church. They're having them on Sunday mornings. They're not having them in somebody's house. But one of the things Chris said to me, he's preached at the men's ministry Saturday. He said, man, you got all these guys in groups. I don't know if you remember that, but you said all these guys are in groups because look at them sitting at tables talking. They usually talk about questions. And so get outside the box and do whatever you can.
You go to Panera Bread, actually the number one group leaving church in America is young mothers with children. It's the number one leaving. It's never happened in the history of the country. But go to Panera Bread at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning and see what you'll see. Yep. You'll see a ton of young mothers, Bible studies, all that kind of stuff connecting. They're not getting what they think they need from church. And so they're outside of church. But the deal is small groups, it's predominantly in America, it's predominantly relational.
It is.
Not discipleship oriented. We think that it is.
Yep.
But it's not. It's relational. And we need relational connection. It's not good that man should be alone. And that's not just about marriage. That's about community. Everybody needs to be connected. But what does discipleship look like? Look at Jesus. It's being with people. Yep. And so go to Starbucks on any morning and watch what you see. You see groups of guys around tables with their Bibles.
Yep. It's one of our 4 values, make it connect.
Yep.
Pastors, they ain't coming back to hear you preach. You got to make it connect. We got room for one more. We got 2 minutes.
Got
so
one
more
up here.
over here. This better be the best question in the history of questions. My man in the tie.
So, as we all know, you guys are fantastic administrators, right?
Yes.
And so
I'm the only one. I
yeah.
remember they had to hire
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah. So I would like to know how you make a plan, enact it, and then look back on that plan and realize, how did this work? How did this not work?
We are, critical evaluators. So we got a plan. We're going to evaluate everything. I hired a new guy as a kids pastor, and he hadn't been there long. We had Easter. We had 14,000 people. Baptized 300. This is incredible. Had 50 services. This is incredible. On Easter? Well, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah. Easter week. And so at Easter, the next staff meeting, executive, we high-fived. It was great. It wasn't awesome. It's awesome. Okay. Now what sucked? And 2 hours later, I look at the new kids pastor, and he's crying. I said, dude, what's wrong? He said, I can't believe what y'all are doing. You're tearing Easter apart. I said, bro, we celebrated. Were you here a minute ago?
Make it better.
I said, and this is what I tell him, I'm so sorry, but you're not going to make it here.
Yeah.
And so what do you mean? I said, if you can't critically evaluate to get better, you're not going to make it. So we take every plan, every event. That's how we do away with ministries, because if it's not accomplishing the vision, we get rid of it. And so every church, Revolution, all of our churches, we have a pie. And we have a certain amount of money and a certain amount of hours that people are going to give us. Are y'all with me? And it's the executive team, senior pastor, whoever's job to decide how we're going to invest those hours and those dollars for the greatest kingdom impact.
That's right.
And in the history, it's the value has been, are we nice? Do we like each other? Now, in the modern now, it's a little bit more critical. So we're going to look at a plan. We're going to run the plan, and then we're going to evaluate the plan against the goals of the plan. And did it now? I'm not going to be the one running. I'll help build it, but I'm not going to be running it. Somebody else is going to run it. But when it's over, we're going to evaluate it, and we're going to say, Severe Heights, Tim Miller, I've helped Tim with some stuff in Knoxville. They were doing the Living Christmas Tree, 50,000 people. 50,000 people. And everybody loved it, and they killed it because it cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and nobody got saved. It was an entertainment for the Christians in Knoxville.
Yep.
And so if you say, well, we want a bunch of people, it was a success. But if you say, did it accomplish our vision? When the law said didn't, they put a bullet in it, shot it. Everybody was mad at them. All the churches were mad. They weren't going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So we pray, we plan, we strategize. I love that. Then we implement, and then we critically evaluate. And we make it better, and we make it better, and we make it better. We have to, I'll say this one thing, I'll stop. We have to create an atmosphere where people can fail. I've had staff people come to me and say, hey, I want to try this event. It's going to cost $50,000. Go ahead. And listen, and they can fall flat on their face and be a failure. That's all right to me. That's all right. Did you pray? Did you plan? Did you work it? Okay, now we know that doesn't work. Thomas Edison, when his factory burned down, said, son, go get your mama. She ain't never seen a fire like this before. And he was so excited, son, we get to start all over. We know what won't work, we get a new start. So create an atmosphere where you can try things and fail, and it's okay. Listen, I could write a book, all the stupid things I've done. And it would be hard to get it down to enough, small enough for people to read it. But
Pastor
we've learned.
Steve. It's good. Pastor Steve.
Man, I've always admired this guy because reading your books and stuff, the way you can plan and discipline, I'm not disciplined enough to take enough time to evaluate. You can ask my team. It's like, we got that one behind us, what's next? I'm just feeling convicted in the moment, to be honest. It's your turn, Josh.
I'll tell you this is why the church is a body, because we can't do everything. And so these guys have just got great people around it. Steve's not good at evaluating. I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of people on his staff that knows how to, okay, what did it really accomplish? Pastor Chris isn't a good administrator. He has surrounded himself with some of the best administrators in the country. I'm good. I'm the guy that's good at saying, here's where we're going. And when y'all come say, how are we going to get there, Josh? What do I say? Ask Brandy. Make sense? So we're a body for a reason, because we need all the different parts. So, hey guys, went a little over, but it was worth it. Good stuff, huh? Incredible. Hey, we got 25 minutes, and then we'll have our last session of the day that's more of a fun session. We love you guys. Let me pray us out. Lord, we love you. You are awesome. Thank you again for the wisdom of these men and for every single person that is here. In Jesus' name, everybody said.